If you've seen Cherrow's prank collab video, you might remember I said over email that I would make a private server if the video hit 1,000 likes, which unsurprisingly happened within a couple days. So now you might be thinking, where is it? Well, we'll get to that later. First I need to tell you the story of what happened the last time research on the game's code was made public, because it's important to how I plan to release everything. Now the story I'm about to tell spans over 2 years, but let's start by going back to around April of 2019. This was before Kingdom came out, when Oven Break was just a mobile game that was popular in Asia, but not really overseas, especially compared to the explosion that would happen later. It was around this time that the modder Problematic Periwinkle Plum, under the pseudonym of Idiotness, would start a server known as CookieLeaks. Side note, I always thought the name was a pun on WikiLeaks, but only once she reviewed the script for this video did I find out it actually wasn't. Anyways, while the server would start out small due to them not actually knowing how to leak at the time, they would start advertising around and slowly accrue a team of data miners and content creators, some of whom are still around today. I'm talking Mole Maniac, Coffee Bee Cookie, and many other names you might recognize if you're a Cookie Run super nerd like me. It got to the point where the server was the source of many leaks in the Cookie Run fandom, even overseas, and the server grew to over 200 members. But you can't get to that level without someone from Devsisters noticing. In fact, they knew about the server for a while, but it wasn't until someone with an invite tipped them off that they finally did something about it. So on May 13th, 2020, Micmac, the community manager for Cookie Run, who you can still see in the Oven Break update videos to this day, joined the server and sent out this message. I'd like to get in touch with the people responsible of this server. Please note that leaks are against our terms of service. Check out this announcement for more info. This immediately sent the server into a frenzy, prompting the admin team to swiftly delete all the channels even slightly related to the game's files. One of the mods messaged him back trying to clarify the server's purpose, claiming that none of it was supposed to be public and that anyone who was found leaking the leaks would get banned. However, this was to no avail, as he clarified that even getting the files was against the game's terms of service. Eventually, all traces of the leaks were purged, and Micmac sent his only remaining message in the server, thanking everyone for their cooperation and requesting that the name be changed. CookieLeaks as a concept was no more. The reactions to the incident, of course, were hilarious. A lot of the leakers basically had no platform left, and while obviously this didn't stop leaks entirely, it did slow them down for a long time. Now, I wasn't in the server when this happened. This was during the Cream Unicorn update in Oven Break, and as Syrupyy stands might already know, I was basically a casual before that point. However, coincidentally, 1 week later, I too would get curious as to how the game's files worked and ended up finding a completely separate exploit that allowed me to see the contents of upcoming updates early. Ironically, the first new release I found was Leak Cookie. For the next year or so, I would continue to show my circle of close friends every new Oven Break release, usually without any issues. By June of 2021, however, they started getting reposted without spoiler warnings by random Twitter users, some of whom were children. Eventually, one of my friends panicked, thinking the secret had gotten out, and they snitched to Micmac about the new method, which immediately led to it getting patched in the next update. Later we found out the method had not actually leaked, and it was just one friend of mine who was sending the images out to others, but the damage was already done. To this day, Oven Break's current encryption still hasn't been broken, and that was basically where my interest in leaking died out. So that brings us to today. Why am I now so hesitant to release anything I do involving Kingdom modding? Well, there are two answers to that question. For one thing, I've already seen firsthand that people can't really be trusted to handle the game's files responsibly, considering that untagged leaks and spoilers are already pretty rampant in the part of the files that leakers already have access to. Now imagine how much worse that would get if I released everything to everybody. The second issue is, Kingdom is a lot different from Oven Break. If you want to edit the data in Oven Break, like say you want to give a cookie twice as much energy, you'll immediately be stopped by encryption, and if you got past that, you'd still have to go through trial and error hex editing everything trying to find the right value to change, and even on top of all that, you'll have to deal with the game's anti-cheat. Now compare that to Kingdom, where we've already reverse engineered the data files to the point that you can edit them with text boxes and sliders. The fact of the matter is, releasing everything I've done now will inevitably lead to widespread cheating. In fact, I'm not going to name names, but I do know someone else who found their way in and started cheating in Arena, only getting banned because they logged into the wrong account. This is a serious problem, and I'm not going to let it get worse because of something I created. So what am I going to do about my promise to Cherrow? Well, if you remember from the video, the concept for the Golden Cheese server was that it would be an exclusive private server for content creators. I decided that if and when a private server is usable, I will do my best to ensure it stays exclusive until Devsisters patches out the ability to apply mods like this. So if I'm ever releasing Google translated cookie run, or the mod where every cookie is overpowered for no reason, or just the ability to mess around with a fake account, it'll be on an old version that can no longer be used for leaks or cheating or anything like that. I'm also willing to help assist in Devsisters patching these issues before they can be exploited, so if you're with the company and you're watching this, feel free to reach out and I'll tell you everything I know. Just please don't ban me. But until that day comes, I'm going to focus on ensuring that what I make feels complete, easy to use, and most importantly, safe. I don't want my channel to be reliant on cookie run mods forever, and I also don't want to seem like I'm gatekeeping this stuff from everyone else. I'm just not interested in causing harm. YouTube already has dedicated leak channels, people using mods on the main server, and of course cheaters. If I wake up tomorrow and arena mode is unplayable because everyone is using a dragon from guild battles, I would be no better than any of them. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments. Long story short, I'm not saying this is never going to happen. I'm just saying I won't do it until it complies with Devsisters' rules on safety and data mining. I've been Syrupyy, and you've been an explorer looking for a lost artifact, the salsa key.